Hey all you cool cats and kittens, it's Carole at Big Cat Rescue.
The drama of Tiger King didn't end when the cameras stopped rolling. We'll talk about which stars are loving the attention and who has serious issues with how they were portrayed. There's one star who's had such a glow up you might not even recognize him. Joe Exotic. Let's just say that Joe Exotic's story in Tiger King didn't exactly have a happy ending. The irony of the Tiger King ending up in a cage himself wasn't lost on his fans or on Joe himself. He was convicted on a litany of charges and is currently serving a 22-year sentence in federal prison. But that doesn't mean that Joe hasn't been a busy guy even though he's behind bars. The documentary detailed a very lengthy legal battle between Joe Exotic and Big Cat Rescue owner Carole Baskin. And Joe Exotic isn't quite done in the courtroom since he's filed a federal lawsuit for approximately $94 million in damages. He's accused the U.S. Department of the Interior, the attorney who prosecuted him, and multiple witnesses of singling him out because of his orientation and his collection of big cats. According to Joe, the only reason he's in prison right now is because of false testimony. $15 million of the suit is for false imprisonment and selective enforcement of the law, while $75 million is for loss of property. The remaining few million of the lawsuit is to cover the cost of boarding his big cats while he's in jail.
Joe Exotic for the people of America. How's that?
While he's definitely a controversial figure, Joe Exotic does have his share of fans, including Cardi B. She even joked about setting up a GoFundMe campaign for him and says that he needed better legal representation. Although his legal battles haven't always gone well, Joe couldn't be happier about the success of Tiger King. According to his husband Dillon Passage, Joe is loving all of the publicity and has been getting tons of messages from enthusiastic fans. Joe always wanted to be famous, and thanks to the documentary, his wish came true. In April of 2020, Dillon shared some scary news about his Tiger King star. He revealed that Joe was transferred to a new facility and has been forced to stay in isolation to ensure he's healthy enough to mingle with other inmates. But according to Joe's Facebook page, he's currently healthy, and his biggest concern right now is dealing with his massive amount of fan mail. Carole Baskin. Hey all you cool cats and kittens, let's talk about the flower crown wearing owner of Big Cat Rescue, Carole Baskin. It's safe to say she probably won't be sending Joe Exotic any fan mail, but what's she up to these days? Well, it probably won't surprise you to learn that she isn't the biggest fan of Tiger King, and no, it's not because she also has Joe's song Here Kitty Kitty stuck in her head. She claims that the show focused way too much on human drama and not enough on the issue of animal rights, and Carole really didn't like the way the documentary addressed the disappearance of her former husband, Don Lewis. According to Carole, her husband was suffering from a serious mental decline before he vanished, but Tiger King made it look as though she had something to do with it. So Carole took to her website to clear things up, pointing out that Don's seemingly dedicated assistant Ann McQueen was caught embezzling $60,000 from her husband and was court-ordered to return the funds. She also called Wendell Williams a very good con man and says he defaulted on a loan they made him. We won't go through the whole thing, but if you're interested in Carole's side of the story, it's definitely worth a read. But even though Carole claims she's innocent, not everyone agrees, and we're not just talking about Joe Exotic. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office has reopened the case regarding Don's disappearance, citing the show's popularity for renewing interest in the case. The Sheriff's Office is urging anyone with knowledge of Don's 1997 disappearance to contact them. Big Cat Rescue is still in operation, and despite the Tiger King backlash, Carole hasn't lost sight of her mission to help ban cub petting and is still fighting for animal rights. She's fighting for the Big Cat Public Safety Act, which would make up-close encounters between the public and the animals illegal. There are exceptions for sanctuaries, institutionalized zoos, and universities, and Carole is encouraging people to help support the bill. Doc Antle. Out of all of the stars of Tiger King, Doc Antle perhaps had the biggest cliffhanger when it was revealed that his facility was raided after filming ended. But unlike his fellow Big Cat fan Joe Exotic, Doc Antle is a free man. He claims that the raid was regarding 3 lions he had acquired and that law enforcement agents were actually investigating where they had been before arriving at Tigers. Agents haven't revealed the official reason behind the raid, but there was no arrests and Tigers is still in operation. As for Tiger King, Doc Antle is not happy about it, to put things mildly. He insists that it's not a documentary and accuses producers of just trying to hype up the drama between Joe Exotic and Carole Baskin. Not that they really needed any help in that department considering their lengthy legal battles. Not only is Doc Antle not a fan, but he had no clue it would get so popular and has a serious issue with how he was portrayed. According to him, there's nothing wrong with how he runs his operation or his romantic life.
3 or 4 girlfriends.
He has like 9 wives.
Doc Antle says that he's currently not married to anyone, let alone multiple women, and only wears a ring in order to ward off unwanted advances. His operation, Tigers, is still making money on cub petting. During an interview with Rolling Stone, Doc Antle revealed that he breeds between 10 to 15 cubs per season explicitly for this purpose. PETA is still doing their best to stop this practice, but for Doc Antle, it's business as usual at Tigers. Barbara Daley. While the documentary revealed a lot about its stars, it left a ton of questions unanswered. Doc Antle is evasive on the topic of his wives, but his former employee Barbara Fisher was only too happy to spill the tea about what life was like for her at Tigers. She claimed that her job took over her life, and let's just say she clearly doesn't have the highest opinion of Doc Antle himself. Barbara says leaving Tigers wasn't easy, but she had a little bit of outside assistance. When she left temporarily for her grandfather's funeral, she reconnected with a high school friend and stayed in touch even when she returned to Tigers. Soon Barbara was pregnant, and today she's happily married with 3 sons. She works at a preschool and is pursuing a degree in early childhood education. Unlike some other people featured in the documentary, Barbara is thrilled that her story is now out there. She claims she wasn't paid for appearing in Tiger King and had no idea that it would end up on Netflix at all, let alone that it would become such a hit. She also revealed that producers interviewed other former employees of Doc Antle, but their stories didn't make it into the final cut of the show. Jeff Lowe. According to Jeff Lowe, the creators of Tiger King only got about 10% of the story, and he resents the accusations that he stole the GW Zoo from Joe Exotic. But regardless of how he acquired it, the park has been booming ever since the documentary hit on Netflix. Apparently, cars were lined up half a mile down the road filled with people eager to see the big cats. Although the park has been temporarily closed in accordance with local regulations, Jeff is looking forward to reopening as soon as possible. He and his wife Lauren have rebranded the zoo and are promoting themselves as the people who helped take down the Tiger King. They claim to have made massive improvements since taking over, but the Tiger King filmmakers disagree. According to Eric Good and Rebecca Chaiklin, the park is basically operating on fumes. Despite this accusation, Jeff says that he plans to relocate the park to a new and improved location in the near future. Tiger King revealed that Jeff was arrested in Las Vegas for doing business without a license and smuggling wild animals into hotel rooms. While Jeff surrendered the animals, he didn't show up for his court date. Currently, he has 4 open cases and active warrants in Vegas. John Finlay. John Finlay is another Tiger King star who has an issue with how he was portrayed in the documentary.
A man of few words, but what a hunk.
He's accused directors of making him look like a hillbilly and says Tiger King didn't tell the whole story about his time at the GW Zoo. While the directors insist that John was the one who preferred to be filmed shirtless, he claims there is plenty of fully clothed footage of him that they opted not to use. But you might as well forget how he looked in Tiger King because nowadays he looks completely different. According to John, his teeth suffered numerous injuries over the years from 4-wheeler accidents, animal attacks, and building cages at GW Zoo. But he's since had them fixed, and notes that the producers of Tiger King knew this and chose to leave his glow-up out of the documentary. The show did reveal that John got a co-worker pregnant, but that relationship didn't last. However, since his split from Joe Exotic, John is now happily engaged to a different woman and working as a welder. Although he misses the animals, he claims he has nothing else to say to his ex-husband, but that doesn't mean John isn't anxious to spill the tea. Yes, John claims that things behind the scenes at GW Zoo were even crazier than what we saw in Tiger King. He's looking forward to revealing his version of the story as soon as he finds the right person to help him get the truth out. Dillon Passage. Ever since Tiger King premiered on Netflix, people have been fascinated by the romantic history of Joe Exotic, and with good reason. While John Finlay claims he never wants to see Joe again, many people have been curious about his latest husband, Dillon Passage. He certainly seemed devoted to Joe even after his husband began serving his prison sentence, but has that changed since the cameras have stopped rolling? According to Dillon, he's still head over heels in love with Joe and committed to making their marriage work.
He doesn't have any contact, and he's a very affectionate man.
During an interview with Andy Cohen, Dillon said that he plans to stand by Joe and understands the extent of his contentious relationship with Carole Baskin. Dillon explained that when he met Joe, he was trying to get clean, and that his husband and the cats of GW Zoo helped give him a purpose when he was in a dark place. Although he admits their 2-week courtship period before getting married was a little rushed, Dillon says he plans to show him the same loyalty and love he felt during that time. While some stars of Tiger King hated the way they were portrayed, Dillon believes the documentary did a good job of showing everyone the way they are in real life. Although there is one exception to this, Dillon admits that he's never personally met Carole Baskin, and that he preferred to stay out of Joe's feud with her, which for legal reasons was probably a good decision. Rick Kirkham. Of course, we all felt bad for the big cats forced to live out their lives in captivity in Tiger King, but you also had to have a little bit of sympathy for Rick Kirkham, who spent years filming Joe Exotic in the GW Zoo behind the scenes. Rick had years worth of work, as well as all of his equipment go up in flames after an accident at the zoo, and bizarrely enough, this wasn't the last time he faced the fallout of a major burn. After his time on Tiger King, Rick suffered a serious house fire that he barely escaped from with his life. In addition to his bad luck at the GW Zoo, Rick also struggled with addiction, and now that he's clean, he's made it his mission to help others avoid going down the same path. Although Rick prefers to keep a low profile now, we do know that he has since gotten married to Kristen E. Rozoy Kirkham. Do you think Tiger King focused too much on drama and not enough on conservation? Who was your favorite person featured on the show, and are you happy about where they ended up? Make sure you let us know in the comment section, and don't forget to click subscribe and turn on your notifications for more from the taco. Bye for now.